Hi, and welcome back to Lisa's Stamp Studio. If you're like me, you're doing a lot more paper crafting right now during the quarantine time for the virus. And today I wanted to provide you with a very simple layout card idea so that you can mass produce your cards to bless lots of people. There are so many people that need encouragement. Perhaps it's family or friends, doctors and nurses that you know. Even send your cards to assisted living facilities. Today's very quick layout is going to provide you with 3 different ideas, and I'm going to demonstrate the first one with you so that you can change up the stamp sets in the designer series paper or cardstock to what you have at home. If this is your first time visiting my channel, I would love to have you subscribe. Click the subscribe button and next to it the bell icon so that you don't miss notifications when I'm live right here on YouTube, as well as when I share a new video. Let's head over to the stamp table and let's get started on today's card. The very first thing you're going to need are 4 pieces of designer series paper. These are cut 1 3 inches by 1 3 inches. The designer series paper with Stampin' Up! Is double-sided, which gives you a theme on one side and typically a generic pattern on the other, which makes them very versatile so that you can use them all year round. If you don't have designer series paper, consider cardstock as a replacement. I cut a piece of Whisper White cardstock. This measures 4 inches by 4 inches, and we're going to create a grid with these squares. I'll be using my silicone craft sheet. I absolutely love this product because I'm going to use my adhesive and I don't want to get it on my work surface. Sometimes when I'm working with these small pieces, it's very easy to work outside the margin of the paper. What I'm going to do is create a grid, but I'm just going to tack it down just in case I have to shimmy pieces left or right. And then I'll take the next one and we're going to do the exact same thing. And then I'll put this one next to it. I'm looking to align the top row and I'm trying to keep the same amount of space between each of those panels. By not pressing too hard on the designer series paper, you're going to ensure that if you need to kind of lift it and move it over, you can do so easily. And then our last piece is going to go here. When it looks good, then what I do is I give it a little tap and then I flip the paper over and I rub from the back to secure those panels in place. My card base is smaller for today's card. This is 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. I did score it in half before you joined me. I'm going to be using my bone folder for that nice crisp edge. And this layer is going to get adhered to the top. Now you can certainly use dimensionals for a little extra elevation. And then we'll center that here on the card front. Now let's decorate this area. I've got a piece of Whisper White cardstock here, and I'm going to be using a bundle of products. The stamp set is called Sailing Home, and there are coordinating dies. The dies are called Smooth Sailing. Now you can purchase this as a bundle, which means it'll save you 10% to get both, or you can purchase them individually. I've taken one of the dies out already that I'm going to be using for the focal point on my card. You'll be able to find these products in the current Stampin' Up! Annual catalog. If you head over to lisasstampstudio.com and click on Contact Me, you'll see ways to obtain your catalog. Also, there's a drop down there if you would like to pre-order the brand new annual catalog that will be debuting in June. I'll be using Night of Navy Classic Ink, which coordinates with my cardstock. That's the one thing I love about Stampin' Up! Products is the color coordination. And I've mounted the greeting that says, "Let hope be your anchor through the storms of life." Really appropriate right now. I know just who I'm going to send this card to, someone who needs just a little bit of encouragement this week. From the dies, I've pulled out this stitched label, and I love that it's got that trendy stitching on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and align this here on my cardstock where I want it. And as a tip for you, before you put it through your die cutting machine to help secure that in place, take one of your Post-it note flags or even a Post-it note and secure it over the die. I do know some people that use washi tape. I have not had good success with it. Sometimes when I pull it off, it rips my image. And then you're just going to die cut it. I'm going to take that die cut greeting now. I'm going to flip that over. Then I'm going to be using my full-size dimensionals for the back side. I like to anchor mine down really, really well since I know my card is going to go through the postage machine at the post office that's got rollers in it. I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool. I've attached the paper piercing tool attachment, and I love this for taking off those paper backings. Just a quick flick of your wrist and they'll come right off, and it wrangles those scrap pieces. This now will get adhered here to the center of that card base, but I want to add an embellishment. This suite of products also has the sail away trinkets, and there are anchors and ship wheels in there, and they're really thin so that you can add them to your card for no additional postage. I've pulled out one of the anchors here, and I'm going to set that card aside for just a minute. I've cut about 6 inches of the coordinating Night of Navy baker's twine, and we're going to create a slip knot. And I do get asked this question quite a bit, so I want to go over it with you. I'm going to put the raw ends together so that the loop is at the top. To get the proper slip knot where the actual line of the ribbon intersects on the front is to actually work from the front to the back of the trinket. So I've lined that up, and I'm going to use that take your pick tool attachment to help me get that through. And then I'll pull this. So you'll see that the raw ends are to the front and the loop here is to the back. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take those raw ends and you're going to open up the loop and you're going to tuck those through, and then you're going to pull it. But you see how the line here of the ribbon is to the front versus to the back. There's no right or wrong way. It's just a matter of how you prefer to thread it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to cut this a little bit shorter. I'm going to come back in with my take your pick tool, and I'm going to separate those strands. It unravels very, very easily, and I wanted to add a little bit of extra texture to the front of the card by giving it that frayed look. Now I'm going to be attaching this to the card base. So I'm going to bring in my glue dots, which is the easiest way for me to do that. And I'm going to attach one here near the bottom. You're going to see how I'm actually pushing the embellishment onto the glue dot, and I'm going to lift. If any part of that glue dot is showing, you can just rub it to the back side. And then I'm going to do one more here at the top to make sure this is good and secure. This embellishment now is going to go down here in the lower right corner of my greeting, and I'll just tack that in place. A really simple card. Definitely one you can make a bunch of. Now, I promised you several other samples, and I have those here. This one uses the Ornate Style stamp set and the Ornate Thanks bundle. Now, the Ornate Thanks is the greeting, and then the bundle includes those beautiful stitched and detailed dies for the frame. This is a promotional product right now through the end of May 2020. This product will be in the new catalog, but you can get your hands on it early. That designer series paper and that stamped image are also from that same promotional suite of products. And you might notice that little sparkle here in the center of my flower. That's one of the gold gilded gems. My third card uses the stamp set Friend Like You with the coordinating dies. And the dies die cut those individual tiny dragonflies. And I'm not sure it's going to be picked up here on the camera, but I added a little bit of Wink of Stella to those dragonflies so that those wings are shimmery. This exact same layout created 3 entirely different looks for these cards. And I hope that you're going to give this a try at home. This is a time where we can do a lot of crafting, and not only is that great therapy to keep us busy, it's an opportunity for us to give cards to other people. If you have enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up here on YouTube, which is a like, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.